I now give the floor to Ms. Nadia Murad Basi Taha, and unusually, just in advance of your statement, I want to thank you for your courage and for you making the trip here to share your experience with the Council, which I know won't be easy, but I really just thank you in advance. Nadia.
شكرا لك سيدتي الرئيسة السادة والسيدات.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Security Council, good afternoon. I would like to thank the U.S. for having convened this meeting and for having invited me to speak to you. It is with great sadness and recognition and hope that I am sitting here before you. On behalf of the Yazidis, I'm a descendant of one of the oldest religions that is threatened with extinction today. Today, I am here to talk to you about the practices of what we call the Islamic State against us, trafficking in persons, women in slavery, recruitment of children in war, and the genocide of our society. I'm here to tell you my story of what happened to my society that has no hope for the future. You all know about this. I'm here to talk to you about more than 3,400 women and children who have been abducted and are still have still been abducted. This ISIS is trying to destroy our culture and take our freedom away from us. I'm here to talk to you about the nightmare that has struck our society. Before the 3rd of August 2014, I was living with my family in Koju village, with my mother, my brothers and sisters, in our pretty little quiet village. But then the Islamic State attacked our region. We found ourselves faced with a true genocide. A large number of these forces of evil had come from different states with weapons and equipment and uniforms. Their aim was to eliminate all Yazidis under the pretext that, according to them, we were infidels. The Islamic State did not just come to kill our women and girls, but they took us as war booty, as merchandise to be exchanged. These crimes were not committed in an arbitrary fashion. It was an organized, planned policy. The Islamic State came with one sole aim: to destroy the Yazidi identity through force, rape, the recruitment of children, and the destruction of all of our temples. All of this can only be interpreted as an act of collective genocide against our identity, in particular against Yazidi families. Rape was used to destroy women and girls and to guarantee that these women could never lead a normal life again. On the 15th of August, people from the Islamic State invited us to go to the school of the village. They separated women, men, and children. I saw them from the second floor of the school. They took the men and they killed them. 6 of my brothers were killed. 3 survived this collective bloodshed. We, the women and children, were taken by bus to another region. Along the way, they humiliated us. They touched us, and that violated our selves. They took us to Mosul with more than 150 other Yazidi families. In a building there were thousands of Yazidi families and children who were exchanged as gifts. One of these people came up to me. He wanted to take me. I looked down at the floor. I was absolutely petrified. When I looked up, I saw a huge man. He was like a monster. I cried out. I said, "I'm too young and you're huge." He hit me, he kicked me and beat me, and a few minutes later, another man came up to me. I still was looking at the floor. I saw that he was a little bit smaller. I begged him, I implored him for him to take me. I was incredibly scared of the first man. The man who took me asked me to change religion. I refused. Then he asked me my hand in marriage, so to speak. I said that I was ill because most women were menstruating because they were so scared. A few days later, he forced me to get dressed and put my makeup on, and then that terrible night, he did it. He forced me to serve as part of his military faction. He humiliated me every day. He forced me to wear clothes that didn't cover my body. I was tortured. I decided to flee. One of the guards, however, stopped me. That night, he beat me. He asked me to take my clothes off. He put me in a room with the guards, and then they proceeded to commit their crime until I fainted. 3 months after my abduction, I was finally able to escape. I'm currently living in Germany. Thankfully, Germany accepted to provide me with necessary medical attention, and I would like to thank them for that. But it was not just my suffering. This was collective suffering. The Islamic State gave us two options: becoming a Muslim or dies. Even those who decided to become Muslim, some of them were killed. Their women were raped, and then mass graves have been discovered. There was a mass grave containing 80 women that the ISIS didn't want anymore. 4,000 men were displaced. Much of our territory is still under the control of the Islamic State. The liberated areas are not livable because of the way in which they were destroyed, because Yazidis have do not feel able to live there anymore, and many Yazidis recently drowned on their way to Europe, fleeing to Europe. Many others only see migration as the only option. Ladies and gentlemen, the Islamic State has made Yazidi women into flesh to be trafficked in. I very much hope that humanity has not yet disappeared. Firstly, more than 3,400 women and children still need to be released. They are still suffering. Secondly, that's the first thing. Secondly, the facts need to be established. There were murders, collective slavery, and that needs to be qualified as genocide. I hope that you can convey this, the case of genocide, to the International Court. Please do this. Thirdly, please liberate all of our territory today so that we can bury our dead, so that we can have a protected area for Yazidis and threatened minorities, so that one day we can live again in our region in peace. I would ask for a international budget to be established to compensate victims and to enable them to rebuild their region. Please open your societies to us. We have been the victim of genocide, and we need countries that respect our dignity. Every day, hundreds and thousands of people are risking their lives. We do hope that you will give us the possibility, as Yazidis and other minorities, as Germany has done, to come and live in your countries. Finally, I implore you, get rid of Daesh completely. I went through this terrible suffering because of them. I've seen what they've done to boys and girls. All those who commit the crime of trafficking and genocide need to be brought to justice so that women and children can live in peace in Syria, Iraq, Somalia, and Nigeria. Everywhere, all these crimes must be brought to an end today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to say that I've been in a lot of Security Council meetings and people don't clap, but they're clapping for a remarkable young woman.